the lustful lyricist with a lyre, perpetually passionate poet with a pan flute. How to create a level 1 bard today on Dungeons and Taverns. Hi, I'm Saul Sunforged and welcome to Dungeons and Taverns. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and a subscribe. Up today on the So You Wanna Be series is how to create a level 1 bard. A bard is described as a jack of all trades. A bard can do everything very good, but only a few things exceptionally well. A bard is traditionally a backline ranged fighter and caster, but they could go ahead and mix it up with their colleges and become a melee fighter if they wish. So yes, bards get spells, but not as many as a sorcerer or a wizard would. At later levels, you'll get to choose a school that you would like your bard to specialize in. These are called colleges. The primary ability is called Bardic Inspiration. Now, Bardic Inspiration, you can cast it within 60 feet of you to somebody who can hear you. Then that creature gains a d6 on their next attack roll that they have within 10 minutes. It also works for ability checks and saving throws as well. At 5th level, it becomes a d8. At 10th level, it becomes a d10. And then at 15th level, it becomes a d12. You can use it as many times up to your charisma bonus per long rest as you want. It recharges on a long rest. I'm going to briefly cover the Barton Colleges, but you'll be able to find them starting on page 54 of the Player's Handbook, page 14 on Xanthar's Guide to Everything, and page 28 of Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. The College of Creation, which is the ability to create and animate objects. The College of Eloquence, the traditional thought of what a suave and beautiful or handsome bard would be, plays well with the Bardic Inspiration and has a lot of charisma-based skills. The College of Glamour, which is very good if you want to make a bard that has massive support skills. It has a lot of charm effects. The College of Lore, which allows you to trade the bard's offensive capabilities for the ability to insult someone to death, like the true Karen you are, and with cutting words. And it has 2 additional spells, so it can fill the party's role of a cleric or a wizard if you don't have one. The College of Spirits allows you to randomly draw tales from the beyond, which gives random magical effects. There's a lot to like in the college, but if you don't like the unpredictability of the nature of the game, then that's not the college for you. The College of Swords is very offensive focused. You can trade your Bardic Inspiration for an increase on your weapon damage. And then finally, the College of Whispers. The college it's really good if you're like in a campaign that's more role-playing heavy, and there really isn't too much dungeon delving to be had, as its only offensive capability is something called Psychic Blade. Well, let's go to the character sheet now and start working on our stats. Alright, so since I don't have access to my second camera, we're just going to go ahead and roll the stats up for you guys on Roll20 right now. You know how it goes. 4d6, you drop the lowest. And since there's 6 stats, you roll 6 times. So let's get started. Alright, first roll. So that is a 16. I just write it here in the margins of the character sheet. Next roll. That is a 11, 6, 10. No, 10. Alright, 10. Alright, so you get the idea. So let's go ahead and get through these ones real quick. We got 7, 12, 12, 12. Alright, so then I put them in order so I could have the easier time assigning them. Alright, so the Bard's primary stat is Charisma, because you want more of those Bardic Inspirations, as that's your primary ability for the Bard kit. So we'll put that 16 there in their Charisma. Dexterity is going to be your second stat, and then your Constitution. And then whether you want to be a more intelligent bard or have a little bit more melee capability is whether you're going to put your strength. And of course, you can assign strength as your secondary stat if you wish to, but charisma, you're very much handicapping yourself if charisma isn't your highest stat. So we will go with intelligence, and then we'll make for our race, we are going to make Asher a gnome. So for being a gnome, his intelligence goes up by 2, and he is going to be a forest gnome. Yeah, he'll be a forest gnome. Then his dex is going to go up by 1. Alright, so there's his final level 1 ability stats. And then, because he's a forest gnome, he gets to know the minor illusion cantrip. And it's based off of his intelligence, is his spellcasting ability for it. And then through sounds and gestures, you can communicate simple ideas with small or smaller beasts. Forest gnomes love animals and often keep squirrels, badgers, rabbits, moles, woodpeckers, and other creatures as beloved pets. Gnomes are between 3 and 4 feet tall, and their average is about 40 pounds. So we're going to go ahead and make Asher a 3'8" gnome and make him 36 pounds. We'll give him auburn color hair, and then we'll give him a greenish tint to his skin, like a greenish blue sort of. Gnomes reach adulthood at 40, and they can live between 350 and 500 years old. So we're going to go ahead and make this gnome. So Asher is 52 years old. He's 3'8". He weighs 36 pounds. He has gray eyes, a pale green skin, and auburn hair. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and make Asher lawful neutral. Lawful neutral simply means that you believe in the laws, but sometimes you hold your own ideals or laws above those. You can find backgrounds in Player's Handbook starting on page 125. Now, there are other backgrounds in some of the official D&D modules, but we're just going to go ahead and assume you have the Player's Handbook. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and pick Charlatan. You always have had a way with people. You know what makes them tick. You can tease out their heart's desires after a few minutes of conversation. With a few leading questions, you can read them like they were children's books. It's a useful talent, and one that you're perfectly willing to use for your advantage. You know that people want and you deliver, or rather you promise to deliver. Common sense should steer people away from things that sound too good to be true. Common sense seems to be in short supply when you're around. The bottle of pink-colored liquid will surely cure that unseemly rash. This ointment, nothing more than a bit of fat with a sprinkle of silver dust, can restore youth and vigor. There's a bridge in the city that just happens to be for sale. These marvels sound implausible, but you make them sound like the real deal. Alright, so as a charlatan, I get deception and sleight of hand. So let's mark those. There we go. Those will use our proficiency bonus. And you are proficient with a disguise kit and a forgery kit. And you get to start with a set of fine clothes, a disguise kit, tools of the con of your choice, 10 stopper bottles filled with colored liquid, a set of weighted dice, a deck of marked cards, or a signet ring of an imaginary duke, and a pouch containing 15 gold pieces. So we're going to go with the signet of an imaginary duke, and then that goes in with our favorite scheme. I put on new identities like clothes. And then for your personality trait, flattery is my preferred trick for getting what I want. Level 1 character starts out with a proficiency bonus of 2. And then we're going to pick for our ideals that we never target people who can't afford to lose a few coins. Now for the bonds, there's several that are really interesting, especially in terms of roleplay mechanics. Stuff that your DM can really use. The first one that's of interest to me, I fleeced the wrong person and must work to ensure that this individual never crosses paths with me or those I care about. The next one that interests me, somewhere out there I have a child who doesn't know me. I'm making the world better for him or her. The next one, a powerful person killed someone I love. Someday soon I'll have my revenge. And then finally, I swindled and ruined a person who didn't deserve it. I seek to atone for my misdeeds, but might never be able to forgive myself. I think I'm going to go with the I fleeced the wrong person and must work to ensure that this individual never crosses paths with me or those that I care about. I think that's the one I want to go with. There's a lot there for the DM to work with. And then for the flaw, I already picked, I'm convinced no one can fool me as well as I fool others. Again, that's a lot of stuff there for the DM to be able to use. The gnome's base speed is 25. They're considered category small, as we already covered the height, and they have dark vision, but most races in D&D5E actually have dark vision, and if you don't, there's feats that can give you dark vision. And dark vision is you can see in dim light for 60 feet in front of you as if it were bright light, and then darkness as if it was dim light, but you can only see in black, basically looks like gray, so you can't see colors. And another thing about dark vision is you have disadvantage on your perception checks in the dark. Due to gnome cunning, you have advantage on all intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws against magic. That's huge. Gnomes can speak, read, and write common and gnomish. Then, as I said before, due to being a forest gnome, you get minor illusion, and it is intelligence based, but it doesn't count towards your known spells. All right, so then our spell save DC is 8 plus our charisma modifier. Our modifier is a 3, so that makes our spell save DC 11. Our spell casting ability is charisma based, and then your spell attack bonus is 8 plus your proficiency, and your proficiency bonus at level 1 is a 2, so 8 and 2 is a 10. Oop, there we go, 10. And then at level 1, you get 2 spells of first level and 2 cantrips. Our minor illusion doesn't count as one of the cantrips, so that means we'll end up with 3 total. And then you can pick the level 1 spells yourselves as you download this from Google Doc when it's finished. All right, so we can head back up to the top of the character sheet. Here we go. And then they are proficient in Dex and Charisma saves. And then we get to choose any 3 skills to be proficient in. So we're obviously going to pick Persuasion because of our background. That's the way we've been going with it. We'll go with Acrobatics. And then our third one, we'll go ahead and pick Performance. You can feel free to modify any of these as you want to as you download the character sheet. And then the Bard is proficient with light armor, simple weapons, hand crossbows, long swords, rapiers, short swords. And then they get to pick 3 musical instruments of their choice. All right, so our first instrument, we're going to go ahead and choose a lyre. A lyre is kind of like a harp. It's like a smaller U-shaped harp. It has a what's it called? A crossbar. They're popular in the ancient Greece. My second instrument is going to be a lute. Basically, a lute looks like a ukulele. The third instrument is a hurdy-gurdy. A hurdy-gurdy is an instrument that traditionally pirates use. It sort of sounds like a violin. You slowly turn the handle, the crank that's at the end of it, and it's a very beautiful sounding instrument, very expensive too. Page 143 of the player's handbook has your starting gold for all the classes here. So we see Bard is 5d4 times 10, so let's go ahead and roll that up now. All right, 5d4 times 10. So we get 130 gold. 13 times 10 is 130. So 130 plus the 15 from our background means we have 145 gold starting out. Now, before I write the starting gear down, it's important to know that your DM may let you use the gold that you have to start out with to purchase your own goods. But for the case of this simplicity of this video, we're going to go ahead and just use our starting gear packages and keep the gold. So we either get a rapier or a longsword or any simple weapon. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick a rapier. The weapon table is on page 149 of the player's handbook, and the adventuring gear is on the next page, page 150. So I zoomed the rapier in. You can see it's 25 gold. It does 1d8 piercing. It weighs 2 pounds if your campaign considers weight. And it has the finesse property. The finesse property simply means that you can use your strength or your dexterity in your determining your attack roll and the damage. The finesse property means that you can replace your strength with your dexterity in determining your attack roll. So now that we're at the point where we need to use our abilities for bonuses, let's figure them out real quick. The simplest way is to take the base number, so this is a 10, divide it in half, so it becomes a 5, and then subtract 5. So you can see that this 10 has a score bonus of 0. This one here is a 13. You round it down to 12. Divide it in half. It's 6 minus 5. It's a 1. This here is 12. Half it. That's a 6 minus 5. It's a 1. So this 14 halved is 7 minus 5 is 2. This 10 halved is 5 minus 5 is nothing. And then we already figured out the charisma bonus. Now, if you recall, the rapier does 1d8 damage, and it's a finesse weapon. So we're going to go ahead and look at our strength bonus, which is 0, and our dex bonus, which is 1. So we're going to go ahead and make use of that finesse property, so this way we can add a 1 to our attack bonus. We are proficient with a rapier, as I read earlier, so your proficiency bonus applies as well. So you get 2 plus 1, so that means your attack bonus at level 1 is a 3. And then for damage, since the weapon does 1d8, you also add your strength bonus to that. So our strength bonus is a 0. So you could just write +0, or you don't even have to write anything in there if you have a 0 as your bonus. All right, so our next choice we make is a Diplomats pack or an Entertainers pack. Here we are at the packs. You can see them on page 151 of the player's handbook. The Diplomats pack is 39 gold. It includes a chest, 2 cases for maps and scrolls, a set of fine cloths, a set of fine clothes, a bottle of ink, an ink pen, a lamp, 2 flasks of oil, 5 sheets of paper, a vial of perfume, sealing wax, and soap. The Entertainers pack is worth 40 gold. It includes a backpack, a bedroll, 2 costumes, 5 candles, 5 days of rations, a water skin, and a disguise kit. We're going to go ahead and obviously pick that one because of the disguise kit. And, that's going to help out with our background. And so is the costumes. But so I can remember what's in that pack, I'm going to go ahead and write the contents of that pack in my inventory. Not just write the name of the pack so I can remember. All right, so you can see here I wrote them down. I changed the order in which I wrote them, so I put them in alphabetical order because it's a lot easier when you're playing to find your inventory items if you know that they're in alphabetical order. That's just my thing, though. Now, the next column is your musical instrument column. So you can either pick a lute or any other musical instrument. I don't know why it doesn't just say any musical instrument, but we're going to go ahead and pick the hurdy-gurdy. Now, this actually gives your DM some stuff to work with, too, in terms of performance, because the hurdy-gurdy, that's not very much a usual thing that people would pick or even think about for D&D. So it gives your DM quite a bit to work with in terms of your performance for inns and things. All right, so the last column says we just get leather armor and a dagger. Page 145 of your player's handbook is going to have the different armors and the different categories that they offer, their protection, how much they weigh, and if you get disadvantage for stealth because of how much they weigh or how much noise they make. You can see here leather armor is only worth 10 gold, and it offers the armor class of 11 plus your dexterity modifier. So 11 and our dexterity modifier is a 1, so that means our armor class is a 12. Since we're here, we could just fill out the initiative. Initiative simply is your dexterity bonus. In older editions of D&D, you used to get a bonus for your size category too. I put my leather armor right underneath my weapons, even though this category says attacks and spell casting. But you could go ahead and once you figure out what spells you are your go-to spells, you can go ahead and just jot them down in here, so you don't have to go down and research them and things like that. It will help your turn in combat go a lot faster. And then we could go back and see that our dagger does 1d4 piercing. It's finesse, it's light, and it can be thrown. And the range here is 20 to 60 feet. If you throw it within that 20 feet, you're good to go. But if you're past that 20 feet, you throw it with disadvantage. And the max you could throw it is at 60 feet. Disadvantage simply means that when you go to do your attack, you roll 2 d20s instead of just 1, but you take the lowest number. Whereas if you have advantage, you roll those 2 d20s for your attack, and you get the highest number. You can also have advantage on your skill checks, or you can have advantage on your saving throws. The DM will let you know. Page 147 of the player's handbook has all the properties for the weapons that aren't homebrewed. You can see here, a light weapon is small and easy to handle, making it ideal for use when fighting with 2 weapons. And then it says, see the rules for 2-weapon fighting in Chapter 9. If you are fighting with 2 weapons, your main action is your main hand, and then your bonus action would be your offhand if you choose to use your bonus action for your offhand attack. But the way I think of it is you go in there up close and personal with your rapier, then you use your bonus action, you can throw your dagger at somebody who's further away. Bards get 1d8 plus their constitution. Bards have a d8 hit dice, so they get 1d8 plus their constitution bonus every level. But your first level, you get your total of 8 guaranteed. But every other level, you have to roll your dice, or you could take the average of 5, and that's how you figure out your health. So that means our Bard is going to be starting out with 8 plus 1 for the Constitution bonus. That's 9 for our max hit points. That's what we're starting out with, and that means our max is 9. The last thing before we do a little bit of numbers crunching is we get our passive perception. It goes off your wisdom, so it's 10 plus your wisdom, which we have no bonus for wisdom, so that means our passive perception is 10. Before I continue, I wanted to give you one little tip, is if you do throw daggers, make sure you pick them up after combat. Sometimes your DM will not give them back to you automatically, so you make sure you go and pick them up yourself. Alright, so let's go ahead and figure out our saving throws. For strength, we don't have a bonus, and we're not proficient. For dex, we do have a bonus, and we're proficient. 2 plus 1 is 3. Our constitution, we're not proficient, we have a 1. Our intelligence is a 2, but we are not proficient, so that means we just have a 2. Our wisdom, there's no bonus, so we have a flat 0. And then for our charisma, we have a 3, and we are proficient, so that means we have a 5 for our saving throw. Now, to do these real quick, for the skills, I go from the top down. So strength, we have no bonus. So that is the only category in strength in 5th edition is athletics. For dexterity, we have a 1, but we're proficient in this one, so we have a 3. And then we go down the categories here, and we see our stealth. We're not proficient. In our sleight of hand, we are proficient, so we have the 1 plus 2 is 3. Then for our constitution, there are no constitutions skilled checks in 5th edition. So then we go to intelligence. We have a plus 2 for our intelligence. So let's go through. Mark everything that's INT next to it. That's intelligence. And there we go for our religion. And then we have wisdom, which we have nothing for our bonus. So we go through and put nothing in there. Ooh, we forgot our investigation. There we go. Okay, back to wisdom and survival finally. So we have no skill check help in those categories. And then the final is charisma. We are proficient in charisma. So let's see here. We got a 3, proficient in deception there. Intimidation, we are not. So it's just a 3. Performance, we are proficient. Persuasion, we also are proficient. And there you go. So there's your skills done real quick. The more characters you make, the faster you'll be able to do it. But if you run down all your bonuses like I did, it's the fastest way you could do it. Then remember, first level, you get Bardic Inspiration, which is a D6 at first level. You get to use it as many times as your charisma modifier per long rest. So that means you get to use it 3 times per day. You get to add a D6 to either your roll or somebody else's roll. It's very handy for utility purposes for a bard. Everybody loves a bard for that reason. Then I come over to this column over here, and I just write in parentheses, level 1, Bardic Inspiration. So this way you don't forget what it does. And skill checks per long rest. And so you could go ahead and put all your abilities over here, type them out if you'd like to, unless you're doing it by hand. Then you could go ahead and do it on a separate piece of paper, because chances are you want to have it a decent sized writing. But yeah, so then you just put it in parentheses on the way down as you level up, and you'll have all your abilities right there to go for easy access. So you won't have to spend so much time searching through the handbook when it's your turn. And then for your spells, ideally you want to know what spell you want to cast before it's your turn. So this way it gives you time to thumb through your spell list and determine which spell you wish to use. And then once you play, you fill out your allies and organizations there. Any treasure that you may have that you wish to separate from your inventory. You know, if you get new feats or traits for your character, or new bonds or flaws even, you write that in here. Your backstory, you can write in here or write it on a separate piece of paper to give to your DM. 1 to 2 pages is recommended length. It can be shorter, and the DM may be okay with it being longer. Just remember that they have to read everybody's backstories. And then if you have special things about your appearance that you can't generally remember, you can write it in here, into that column. And yeah, that's it. You put your spells down here once you write them down. And, you know, you click the little dot over here for the ones that are prepared. You'll have, starting out, you'll have 2 level 1 spells and 2 cantrips. Remember, the minor illusion doesn't count as one of those cantrips. Well, there you go. There's the bard for you. If you enjoyed this video and it helped you, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you have anybody that you know that might be get some help from this video, feel free to share to them on your social media networks, and I would appreciate that. I appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.